Welcome to the wonderful world of Old Mai, a place brimming with surprises and delights, where today we will have the privilege of witnessing an absolutely fascinating family drama. The young leader told Miss Job had it easy playing volleyball. As time went on, he excitedly rode his rusty old motorcycle to the pit to ask Boss Kyuju if there were any fresh job openings. Kyuju told him the only vacancy was for an insurance salesman. Pierce felt utterly insulted. He was a graduate after all. As he stormed off in frustration, Kyuju stopped him. Kyuju quietly revealed the city government was secretly hiring computer operators for 500,000 rupees. Pierce was shocked, thinking, is this guy nuts? Who spends 500,000 rupees on a temp job? A sage appeared, and Pierce was secretly excited, thinking, what if I could get a permanent position through Kyuju? Just then, while he was lost in thought, he noticed some commotion nearby. His brother's sister, Diodai, was on a date with another grandma. When she spotted Pierce, they zoomed off together. Pierce angrily chased after them, but his motorcycle failed him at the worst moment. Old Mai was sipping tea, chatting with the owner who suggested his brother-in-law, skilled in selling insurance for perpetually unemployed Pierce. Old Mai immediately shut the idea down. He knew his son's temperament. The owner thought Old Mai was too harsh, and insisted on introducing clients to Pierce. Seeing this, Old Mai hurriedly called his son. The moment Pierce heard he had clients, he happily agreed. Old Mai was surprised and reminded his son not to let his wife worry, and not to cook for him. He planned to eat at the temple, but Pierce, distracted, hurried to the bar to spill the tea on Jyoti's early romance. The bar owner was furious and confronted his father about his sister's antics, but the father said there was a temple fair today and quickly took Jyoti away. Remembering this, Pierce stopped Laju from giving him a lecture, firmly saying that the colleagues from the company would also attend the fair, so they could postpone the next day. As Old Mai stepped out, he caught wind of all the gossip about Jyoti's early romance and thought about how her father was a respected teacher. Old Mai insisted on Berth to stop gossip. Yet people claimed Pierce started it. He felt the heat and felt ashamed as he passed by the teacher's house, guilt gnawing at him. By the time he got home, Old Mai heard the teacher died of a heart attack. He attended the funeral with mixed feelings. He couldn't help but connect the teacher's death with the rumors he had spread earlier, guilt washing over him like a tidal wave. Pierce, unfazed, borrowed 300,000 rupees and went to Kyuju to bargain. Say, if the money isn't sufficient, it simply isn't sufficient. Old Mai confronted Pierce with a 2,000 rupee electricity bill and, getting no response, yanked the fuse out. When Pierce discovered the power was out, he quickly emerged with a flashlight. Old Mai immediately shot down Pierce's excuse for not paying the bill. Pierce was a bit intimidated and stuttered a promise to pay the entire electricity bill next month. Song Hyo also wanted to get in on the action, and Old Mai immediately agreed, not bothering to think it through. The next day, Pierce cooked a feast, earning Old Miss praise. After eating, as Pierce prepared to fix his motorcycle, Old Mai brought more news. I've got a couple gig for 4 people, and I'm giving you a shot. The 4 reported the case at the police station. With the stakes so high, a stressed-out Pierce recounted his woes of collecting the payments. Pierce was now engulfed in a whirlpool of debt, and Old Mai was not about to pay for his son's foolishness, urging his daughter-in-law to sell their belongings. Pierce set his sights on their house to settle the debts. Old Mai was furious and hoped his son would consider the cost of his actions. Old Mai cut ties completely, believing his son should face the consequences of his actions. Pierce desperately hoped his father would help him out of this mess, but couldn't understand his father's harshness. Meanwhile, Laju was worrying about passing on his father's job. The school expressed regrets over the teacher's passing. Laju wasn't favoured by the school, less educated than Pierce, but got Pierce's dream job due to his wealthy connections. Pierce was in a rush and couldn't empathise with Laju, choosing instead to avoid speaking to the teacher. He refused to engage in conversation with the teacher and opted to remain indifferent instead. The school still didn't respect Laju, less qualified than Pierce, yet got Pierce's dream job through wealthy ties. Pierce was anxious and couldn't connect with Laju, preferring to avoid the teacher entirely. He thought, I just want a government job. This shouldn't even be compared with Laju's situation. Pierce secretly resolved in his heart, contemplating that if his father passed away, perhaps the responsibility of that job would fall to him. He stared at his father, a horrible thought brewing, while internally struggling against it. As he courageously took a step towards this daunting path, he profoundly realized that the future of his wife and child was heavily pressing upon his mind. Acknowledging clearly that Old Miss' remaining days were numbered, he resolutely decided that it was indeed the moment to engage in a heartfelt conversation with his father. But he struggled to say he wanted his father to die, leaving him anxious. After Old Mai left for work, he finally gathered the courage to speak to his parent. He tried to convince Old Mai by painting a beautiful picture of what being a government employee looked like. Pierce was clearly intrigued. When Old Mai returned home, he discovered the 4 had secretly plotted the next move. Old Mai was shocked to hear his son even suggesting such a thing. He threw him and his in-laws out of the house. However, an unexpected event changed his perspective. The government's neglect for senior care after 60 was putting tremendous pressure on the youth for future security, especially with the job market in turmoil, leaving many middle-aged people unemployed and facing despair. The government's silence in the face of protests sparked outrage. Old Mai witnessed a young man, much like his son, dousing himself in gasoline before striking a match in desperation, leaving Old Mai terrified. Old Mai couldn't get close, feeling as if he was staring into his son's face. He suddenly realized the egregious mistake he made by driving Pierce away. But with immense pressure of debt on his shoulders, he imagined how devastating it would be to lose his only son, grappling with his feelings all night long. Old Mai finally decided to bring Pierce back home to reassess their debt repayment strategy. However, when he suggested buying a house to pay off the debts, Pierce was still unsatisfied, arguing that even if they solved the current issue, there was no guarantee of future employment. Without a house, their lives would be reduced to living on the streets. What's more, everyone knew that Pierce only got the job because his father passed away, not because his father actually wanted to go. So Old Mai decided to hand the decision over to Pierce. Do you even know what you're saying? I just happened to mention those words without meaning I wanted you to actually die.